How's it going, everyone? The Trout91 here for a Max Payne 3 multiplayer gameplay commentary, and this one gets a little bit long because as far as I'm aware in the multiplayer, especially for Team Deathmatch, you just get 10 minutes and you try and get as many kills as I absolutely fail with the grenades. One of the things that kind of irks me about the multiplayer a little bit, but anyway, we're gonna quickly move on. This gameplay, pretty standard. I don't know what a good score is, but the final score in this one is 18-5. I was playing for a couple of hours the other night, and this was the best gameplay I got when I first started playing it. And I'm pretty fond of this multiplayer, I'm not going to lie. I think it's pretty decent, to say the least. Nothing by any means spectacular or over-the-top special, but it does have a lot of nice customization in it, and all your customizations do affect your overall playstyle. So I've got quite a few attachments, guns, and like equipment. So I've got like a helmet on and a vest, and that like overall impacts the way I have to play because my stamina meter, which affects how much you can roll, I think it might affect your jumping because the bullet time jump, and it affects how much I can sprint, and I can't regen my stamina. So basically, I've got to be very careful about how much I'm moving and stuff like that. So overall, simple things like that can affect the gameplay and the way you play it, which I think is very nice and very unique, and you don't see it too often in games these days. Like everything you do is impacting the way you play. But before we kind of move on to the multiplayer aspect, I want to talk about the campaign first of all, because I think a lot of people are wondering whether to get this game or not, and there hasn't been much gameplay of the campaign or the multiplayer. There might have been, depends on who you subscribe to, but the people I'm subscribed to, even on Respawn and stuff like that, I haven't seen much about it at all. So I thought I would put up this commentary and talk about everything that I feel needs to be talked about. So the campaign, I thought the campaign was brilliant. I loved it. I loved the story. It felt like I was watching a movie, but I was also playing it. It was fantastic, well scripted, lots of funny moments, lots of good one-liners. Max Payne was a class act, and to be honest, I think this is the first Max Payne I've really gotten into. I saw bits of Max Payne 1. I was too young to really understand or play it when it came out. So I stayed clear of it, and my brother used to play it, and I used to watch him occasionally. But if you've never played Max Payne before, it's not going to affect the campaign in this, because it kind of picks up from where it left off, but at the same time it doesn't. You're still Max Payne, you still have a drug addiction, an alcohol addiction, and he is an ex-cop whose wife and kid died, and that's pretty much all you need to know, because it kind of picks up into a whole different story almost. And the story, if I'm honest, the story isn't that involving. Like, there's no big scandal. Well, there's a scandal, but it's not like, I'm trying to think of the way to say this. The story isn't jaw-dropping. There's no like, oh my god, and this, and oh my god, and that. It's kind of just, you're Max Payne, you're hired to protect people, you shoot the shit out of everyone, you blow people up, you do everything badasses do, and it's just generally a very fun campaign to play. There's lots of nice dialogue and good gameplay involved in it, and the bullet time stuff really makes it feel epically amazing, and it was fantastically done. Which isn't to say that there were a couple problems. One of the problems I found was with Max Payne, you have a health. Your health doesn't regen. You have a health meter. When it reaches full red, you're dead, basically. But if you have painkillers, which are your health packs, basically, they can stop your health meter reaching red, so it'll reduce the pain that you're inducing, you're enduring even. And so when you go down, when your meter reaches red, you start to go into this falling death animation. And you have to shoot the person who last shot you to regain consciousness, basically to get yourself back up on your feet. And in doing this, it costs an extra health pack to get yourself back up into the fight. Which is, it's nice because sometimes you don't always remember to use your med packs, especially if you're in the middle of a fight. But at the same time, it can be a huge pain in the arse, because I've been in situations where I'm facing another way, I've been shot in the back, I've had to turn around, and you're just slowly in slow motion, ever so slowly turning around, and your gun's still pointing in the away from the guy, even if your body is facing him, and it takes ages to turn around, and by then you've got barely any time to shoot the dude. But there's also the problem of if you're in cover or the enemy's in cover, you're pretty much screwed, because you can't just shoot anyone, you have to shoot the person who shot you, which created so many problems for me. And if you saw my Trout tries earlier in the week, there was a problem where this bar was actually preventing me from shooting the guy, which really did annoy me a lot in the campaign. And I was playing it on hard free aim just to get the achievements. That shit was so hard. That's another sort of problem that was... It was nice to have a challenge, but also so hard. The campaign is so hard. I got all the way to chapter 13, and there's actually 14 chapters, I believe. And I got all the way to 13, and I just could not do this one part in the police station. I had to switch down to normal. And even in normal, once I switched it down and continued on, I found it so hard. And I don't know what my teammate's doing here. He should have saved me. I don't know how he even got there, but... So that was kind of a few problems that I had with the campaign. Overall, I thought it was a fantastic experience. I loved it, even though it made me angry, because I don't like losing. I think everyone knows that about me, so it makes me angry. Moving on to the multiplayer. Very simple, very much on the same lines of Max Payne. There's lots of customization in this game, more customization than you would find in probably any other first-person shooter. Well, I say it's not first-person shooter, is it? But third-person shooter. And it's pretty well balanced. You know, there are a couple things in third-person shooters that annoy me, especially if it's like a tacky add-on. And it feels like this was kind of a last-minute thought almost, just to give it a little bit more replay value. But it is actually very well balanced. Like, the last third-person multiplayer that I played that seemed like a tack-on was James Bond Bloodstone. I loved the campaign in that game, and I really enjoyed the multiplayer as well. But there was... one thing that annoyed me about it, and it was the special abilities that were so prominent in the campaign, and that was the focus aims. So when you melee someone, you get this focus aim, and it's basically an aimbot, where you can just aim at, you press a button, aim at people, and they're instantly dead. And you could get up to like 3 of those, so, and melee range was so huge in that game, that it made it so overpowered, everyone just ran up to each other, meleeing each other, and the lag was so horrendous, you couldn't actually stop it at times, which made it even worse of an experience. But in this game, the melee's good, but it's not overpowered. It doesn't have a lunging feature. If you're not close enough, you're not going to get the melee, but you can get the melee if you are in the right position. I don't know how I didn't kill this guy. I feel like the pistols are more powerful than the regular primary weapons in this game, but I don't know. So they balance that nice and well. And the special feature in this is obviously the bullet time, where you can slow down the speed of time almost, and do, as you see that guy doing there, jumping from cover to cover and jumping in front of people and stuff like that. And I thought they were going to do it so it would just be like a jumping maneuver, which I think at the very beginning of life, unless you build up your adrenaline and stuff, it does do that. However, also with akimbo weapons, you can't use your the bullet time feature. But it actually does slow down the whole game. I don't find the bullet time feature to be that useful, to be honest, especially in the campaign. I didn't find it that useful. It might have been why I found the whole thing so hard, but I just really couldn't find a time to use it. It actually slows down the entire game, which I'm surprised they went with that kind of that feature, that kind of route. It does annoy me at times, especially if I'm in a gunfight and suddenly it slows down and I'm not ready for it. But I suppose it's just something you got to live with. It's a bold move for them to choose, and I think it works out decently. I wouldn't have done it myself if I had input on the game, but it doesn't seem to be too huge of a bother. And overall, I think the multiplayer is fun. I think it will be a nice play. I think I'll play it for a little while. I don't know how long it will last. The developers, Rockstar, have said they're going to keep involved and constantly update it as much as possible in the near future, but we'll see how true to their words they stay. Overall, if you're thinking whether you should get this game, I would strongly recommend you pick it up. If you're not fully sold on the £40 or $60 price tag, maybe wait a little while until it drops by a tenner or so, because it is well worth it. I'm very glad I bought this game for 40 quid. I think it's an absolute bargain, and I'm very happy with my purchase, and that's my thoughts on the game. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like rating, and I will see you later. Peace out.